welcome everyone to the August 10th Richmond Park and Recreation Board. I call it to order. I will now read the mission statement. The Richmond Park and Recreation Department provides for the positive development and well-being of the Richmond community through the provision of parks, greenways, trails, and recreational programming and facilities while working in cooperation with other service providers and partners in the community to maximize all available resources. Looks like we have special guests for today.
We do. I would like to introduce Miss Cheryl Amos. Cheryl, if you'll have a seat at our special guest table.
Okay.
Wow. You can sit or stand.
Somebody swear her in.
Yes. You can sit or stand. It's up to you.
I don't know how much time you have for me today.
Well, I just thought you could just spend a couple minutes kind of talking through some of the updates that you've done with Madonna and let the board know kind of what your role is at the DAR. And our partnership with the DAR is so special. We're so glad to have our Madonna on the Glen Miller property, and it's such just a wonderful asset that we have. And Cheryl does an amazing job really heading that up through the DAR. And so, yes, she's so humble, okay, I'm honest. So I just appreciate all she does and that the DAR does. We just were able to install 2 new benches so that people can sit and admire the Madonna. And so the DAR helped with that, as well as Ken Poust, past commissioner. So we're very excited to be able to have her here just to kind of talk through some of the things that they've been able to do in the last month, and also some of the things that they're doing. So thank you, Cheryl, for being here.
Well, to start off, I brought you a file, and in it are some historical documents as well as historical photos, because she was originally erected on October 28, 1928, so she's approaching her 100th birthday. She came from Missouri. There are 12 in the United States. She marks 5 historic pioneer trails from Rock Creek, Maryland to Upland, California. So she is in all these states marking pioneer trails, and of course the trail through here is Old National Road. There was a battle between Indianapolis and Terre Haute and Richmond as to where the Madonna was going to be placed in 1928. And so it was decided that Richmond was going to be the location of our Madonna, because it is the first county seat into the state of Indiana. So that's why she's here. She's gone through many renovations through the years. I did not get involved with the Madonna actually until 2017. I became a member of DAR in 2011, but actually I had no involvement in any of the restorations through the years. And I provided you some documents of previous restorations. In 2018, she was merely repainted and patched, and then the concrete apron around the base was added so visitors could actually walk around and see the 4 sides. Before, she was encased in shrubbery, big bushes, and when those were removed, they found a long-lost plaque put up by the colonial dames of America, marking the toll house that used to be across the street on the corner. So anyway, in June of this year, a picture was taken by a DAR group that came and visited, and our state regent noticed that the base looked very bad. And anyway, she contacted me, and I don't know if you can see it, but you see the base, and that's what it was looking like for the last year or so. And so Sherry asked me to contact a local masonry contractor, which I did, and they did an evaluation, and it was decided that the base was really deteriorating very quickly, and a lot of damage was done. The mason would not guarantee his work unless he redid the entire base. So that's what we did. And what I did, I was there every morning. I took photos, I kept a journal, and documented all of the work done. I also did that in 2018, so I have 2 notebooks. But anyway, we hope that she is going to be here at least till 2028 to celebrate her 100th birthday. But this renovation, or restoration, I should say, came at a price tag. And so it is the job of the Indiana Daughters of the American Revolution to recoup some funds to put back into that maintenance fund. And so I'm hoping to get some community support. After all, she is in our community, and we got a lot of community publicity with this recent renovation. And the addition of the 2 new benches is wonderful. I did a presentation 6 times this past week. We have district meetings around the state, and I did a PowerPoint in 6 locations around the state of Indiana promoting the restoration of our Madonna. So I have this book here, and it's filled with all of my photos. I will be glad to leave it with you until I come back for our meeting, but perhaps you might enjoy looking at the photos. Instead of using rebar, which they usually use in concrete, they use modern masonry materials consisting of fiberglass rods. So they drilled into the base and replaced with fiberglass rods, and they also used that kind of rod around the base before they poured the concrete. She was done July 27th. She was ready to go. So
She looks great.
yeah, she does. She looks beautiful.
She does. She's never looked better, and we appreciate all your help and your lead in that. And you know, we do know that she does serve on our property. We hope to make sure around her looks just as good as she does. So thank you so much.
She does, yes. And special thanks to your groundskeepers. I have spoken to the young lady that does the plantings, and she's been very careful to put perennials in there, which we're very grateful for. Our chapter did replace the flag this summer. And that flagpole, I don't know if you know, but in 1928, the flagpole and the base and the flag was donated by children of the American Revolution, which was an organization of DAR, and it consisted of the children of the members of DAR. But that chapter disbanded after all of the parents no longer were here. So anyway, that's where the flagpole came from, was from the children of the American Revolution. So anyway, I'll leave this with you and let you guys, look at it at your leisure. And when I come back for our meeting, August 20th, I believe,
Okay.
I can pick it up.
Yep, we'll have it up front
From here, up front.
Thank you,
Okay?
Cheryl.
Sure.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody have any questions?
Yes, do you have any questions?
Or comments?
Sorry, I didn't, I always do more than 2 minutes. Yes, sir.
Now, if we did want to support the maintenance, fund for them,
That'd be awesome.
how would we do that?
Well, I talked with Millie Martin Emery with the Western Wayne paper, and I'm hoping the article will come out next week. The Indiana DAR is a 501c3.
Right.
And so I've indicated that if public donations, corporate donations want to be made, to make it out to the Indiana DAR, and I included our state treasurer's name. And it could be mailed directly to her. It doesn't need to go through our local chapter, but it can go directly to the state fund.
Okay,
And
and
just-
that article will have that information?
Yes, and if not, I can give that to Denise, so
Okay.
everyone will know how to make a contribution, but anything would be greatly appreciated.
Yep, and as I told Cheryl, I'll be working with her trying to maybe do some other creative strategies for fundraising to recoup some of the funds.
And the Tourism Bureau, they also sell our wooden Madonna ornaments as well, and so we get a little bit of funding from that, but we need major funding. Thank you. Any other questions before I take off?
Well, you actually stole my question, so, no, thank you very much for coming.
Sure, anytime. Thanks, Denise. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
All right, we're going to move on to our next item on the agenda, which is the approval of minutes from July 13th. Has folks had a chance to review them? Okay, if so, is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and second to approve the minutes from July 13th. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. On to administration report. Denise.
Yes. So I have your park report there. I did take a picture of the Madonna and how beautiful she looks. Did have a picture of some of the events we've done. And also I talked a little bit about the budget updates and project updates there. If there are any questions, I'm happy to answer those. One of the things I wanted to do is give some shout outs. Obviously, Morgan, Kyle, Tim, they've done a wonderful job on the splash pads in the pool, keeping it running, making sure the chemicals were up to par. We did not have any chemical failures all year long. That is huge. Darren and Rod did a great job getting McBride in tip-top shape for the induction of John Cade into the Frontier Hall of Fame on July 29th, so that was a big event for us. Also, Laura was just on Richmond Rising to talk about the pollinator garden, so check that out. It's a really good piece talking a little bit about why we plant natives and why we do what we do in our landscaping. So it's something that definitely you should check out if you have time. I also wanted to kind of talk through the fact that JUCO was seamless this year. Keith did a wonderful job heading up JUCO and making sure that not only JUCO, but Little JUCO and JUCO Rocks all worked very well. He had great counselors, great site leaders, and he was just always there making sure everything was in order. I didn't have to worry about a thing because he always had it taken care of. So I just really appreciated that. And having enough lifeguards to make sure that we were open around the clock and we could have swim lessons and some of the things that we'll talk a little bit about in budget. I mean, we couldn't have done that if we didn't have enough lifeguards. And so that was just really great to be able to have that. And Jim actively there 100% of the time to make sure that the pool was safe with the security cameras that we have too was just really great. So a lot of wonderful positives that we've got going on, and I think my report really just touched on a lot of that.
Okay, thank you. Any question or comments for Denise?
I will say that the parks, I think, are pretty good. Especially Glen Miller looks great. I did want to ask about the pond or lagoon here. Seems to be growing a lot of algae. Is there a plan for that moving forward? I know the fountain is on sometimes and off sometimes.
So we turned the fountain off when the algae was in bloom, so it does not burn up the pump. So we've got a little bit of, we're looking at some things. We had sanitation out. We thought there was a little bit of a runoff creating the algae issue. Additionally, I think you all know that the pond needs dredged in a bad way. The last time it was dredged was the 70s. And so that is in our request for if we're able to bond in 2024, is to dredge that bad boy and make sure that it's not just, you know, some pond you can walk across. So, you know, that is what it really needs, to be real honest. So when our aquatic control contract, when they come out to treat the pond, there's areas that they can't get to sometimes, so that also is an issue. They were out on Monday and they treated, you know, as far as they could go, but you know, there's only so much you can do when it's needing a dredge, and it really needs a reworking.
Okay, great, thank you.
But I think the algae's down enough that we could turn back on the fountain. So we just don't want to burn up our pump.
Sure,
Yeah.
understood.
Any other questions, comments for Denise? All right, moving on to division reports. Do we not have financials to report?
So Emma had to go for me to Board of Works,
Okay.
so I couldn't be two places at once.
Okay.
So Emma is heading to Board of Works to get a backhoe purchase approved. So she's going to be reporting there while I'm reporting here. If there's anything that you want to talk about in the financials, I'm happy to go over those with you.
Anybody have any questions, comments regarding financials? Okay, looks like we don't at this time.
Okay.
I see other folks, other divisions. Do you have anything to share in the audience? Any current special events coming up, or?
We'll have August starts to slow down for us finally. JUCO just ended last week, so we'll have more information at the next board meeting. But I'm trying to take a breath as well before I dive full back into it. So it's kind of where we're at right
If it's okay, I'd like to ask Becky if she wants to talk about her new addition at the center.
Sure.
I just wanted to say we added a mini disc golf course, so this is a new thing, it's in, and we're getting all our discs donated from some younger seasoned golfers, so we're gonna learn how to do that, and then maybe we'll be able to access the courses that are in Glen Mellor and Clear Creek, so I found it was a barrier that people didn't quite know. We all knew how to throw frisbees, but not exactly what the rules were, so. We now have one up, and everybody's been outside looking at it, so they got extra steps. That's good.
So very exciting there. Becky's been really working to find new creative things that will bring more members in. And Becky, how many members have joined since you have started?
Well, as of today, we have over 20, I know it doesn't sound like a lot, but we have 23 now because we got 4 new ones this week. And one of them was just for today, and we had 3 people drop in, take away things, and said they would be back to fill out the paperwork, so we are growing.
Yes.
And we're adding back something else. I just heard they had free line dancing. They used to have that before the beginner dancing. And the instructor asked if she could add that back because there's an interest. So that's coming back in August. So we're growing.
Great.
That's the goal. As I kind of talked to Becky about, she's kind of like, well, what are your expectations? What is your goal? And, my goal is that I get to come to you guys and say, we don't have enough room. We have to expand. Our recreation center for our seniors it's just too tight. We need to get more space. That's my goal. I hope that happens, and one day I hope we can have that conversation of expansion. And so that's where we're headed. Becky's really making headway at making sure she gets the kind of hidden gem out there to people and to let them know, hey, come, recreate here. This is not just a place where, people are stagnant. They're playing, they're having fun. It's a good, fun place to be if you're over 50 for $20 a year. So, she's really getting that word out. That's what we need to do. And it's exciting. So I'm pretty happy about that.
Denise?
Yes.
Can I ask, I'm sorry, any thoughts about moving the site of the senior center?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
And I would say that because we just put in a huge investment into the HVAC system. We now have all of our entire HVAC system completely upgraded, as well as our flooring. So I think the investments that we have made have shown that we want to stay here, and that this area is definitely where we need to be. I just would like to see, it's conducive to the amount of people that we currently have. But if we can get to that growth factor where, hey, we need another gymnasium. There's just so much activity that we would love to have another offset, or something like that is what I'm talking about.
How big that building is? How many?
Like square feet?
I should know that.
No, but I'll get back to you on that.
It's fine.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay.
You should go.
Yeah, I'll get back to you on that one. I will say that one other thing I wanted to kind of report today, and that was we are in the running for being the top market in Indiana. So the farmers market has the opportunity to potentially even be the top market in the nation. This is a really big opportunity, and we have until September 18th to vote. And so we've shared this on our Facebook page. We're doing a whole marketing campaign around this opportunity that we have. And we're neck and neck with Fort Wayne's market. Fort Wayne's market has 200 vendors. I mean, they're a huge market. They have streets of people. I mean, they have bands on every street. I mean, this is, we love our market, but this is small potatoes compared to a Fort Wayne market with 200 vendors. We're neck and neck with them, and we're surpassing them with our votes. So, our small 36,000 Richmond has the potential to be the top market in Indiana, and we could win $5,000. So we just really need everyone to share this out and to vote. And right now we're 8th nationwide. I don't know, has it changed? Slightly?
We're kind of blowing Fort Wayne out of the water, but we're in top running for the Midwest.
Yeah.
We're top 3 right now in the Midwest.
So
Wow.
it
So we're
constantly
Big
changes.
place in Illinois.
Yeah, so we're constantly looking at the stats on how our votes are going, and we're continuing to share it out, and we just need everyone to kind of grab a hold of this. I mean, if we could win the top market in the nation, come on, that puts Richmond on the map completely. And our market deserves it. It deserves it wholeheartedly with all the programs that we offer and all the opportunities we offer our vendors and the people who come. We deserve to be the top market in the nation. And so I'm pretty excited about this opportunity. And this is Farmers Market Week. So, this is kind of why it's spearheaded this, and, you vote for your top market. And so we're in the running. It's very cool. I think that's all I have, unless you guys have any questions for anyone.
Anyone any questions or comments in the division reports?
Madam President. I just wanted to comment about the Elstro Park. I think is a great facility and great things happening there. I've been to the market a couple of times and it's always been busy. But I wanted to compliment you and your staff. I know you played a part in the Soul Fest, and that was just a wonderful evening. It was beautiful weather, a tremendous crowd, and it was very encouraging to see that in downtown Richmond.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think, we always wanted Elster to be Richmond's, living room, basically. We always wanted to, every community festival, and, people feel like they can just belong there. And I really think that that's what's happening. We've had several festivals there. People like having the festivals there, and we constantly have it rented for that. So we try to do everything we can to accommodate them in those areas. So yeah, it's definitely fun to have partners be able to have other community festivals and us play just a small role. Another thing, talking a little bit about events and things, we hosted the statewide VFW tournament at the golf course. It was a huge success. Sold over $1,800 in just beer alone. And that was a huge day for golf. It was a huge day for daily green fees and everything for us. I think we ended up with almost a $7,000 day. That's, wonderful. We want to thank the VFW and people who were able to bid on this. John Renfro, he, was right out there saying, hey, bring it to Richmond. We can take it. And we were really excited about that. Now we're looking at getting the American Legion statewide here. So I think we put on a good show. We had the help of tourism as well. We had bags for everyone, and had a really great opening ceremony with taps, and also lots of things that happened. So it was great. And Wes did a wonderful job coordinating all that. So thought you'd want to hear that.
Anything else for division reports? All right. Is there any more concerns or comments? Delegation and correspondence?
This is just a letter that was addressed to Wes regarding his time he took and effort he took for the ladies when he did special bouquets and things on their tables for the ladies golf. And Laura did those for him and cut out of all of our flowers that we have in our park. So it was a nice little gesture.
We don't have any old business, so we're going to move on to new business. First item up is the approval of rate increases for 2024. So I'll let you introduce that, please.
Okay. One thing I did want to pass out, and I have this under my report and budget concerns, so that you can kind of refer to it. But I'm going to pass this out right now, just to kind of tee up a little bit of the rate increase need.
2 pages.
It's 2 pages, sorry. So this is just a little bit of the reason why we need to think about a rate increase. Kind of go through the fact that you realize every year we get less and less tax dollars. We also had a bill that was just signed into the state, which caps the property tax assessment at 4%. So it brought it down from 5% down to 4%, and that's a cap. So there's a few things that are a little bit concerning, and I kind of put this together just so you guys can kind of see from year to year different increases in salaries, how much that we've requested from 2017 to 2023 and full-time, part-time, and seasonal staff. And when you go down to the part team requests from 2017 to 2023, you see that it's really been the same amount of people, if not kind of a little bit of a, went from 21 down to 19 back up to 20 and how we are requested, but yet you can see the amount of money that we've had to request in that period of time. So that kind of is in part of the salary increase requirements that are being requested. And a lot of those salary increase requirements are from the salary survey or from contractual obligations from ASME. Then I wanted you guys to kind of look at the circuit breakers. So the circuit breakers are the property tax caps that come in and how they've continued to grow from 2019 to 2024. That is a 6-year increase of $600,000 that we do not receive in our budget. And if you go down to, or if you go to the next page there, this is how much insurance has increased for us. And in just 1 year, these are monies that I have to find in our budget. And so I wanted to kind of just show you the big picture here of what I have to do to try to find funds. And then, I work really hard with the controller and the mayor and try to figure out how we're going to pay for everything, including the repairs that we need for shelters when they come up, and to keep those able and willing for everyone's birthday parties and family gatherings, and how we're going to pay for mowers when they break so we can continue to mow the grass, and how we're going to be able to pay for fleet when it breaks down. And we don't have anything in our budget for any programming. Obviously, that's all things that we raise. So this budget that we are presenting are our operations, basically, right? And so we're just working really hard with a very tight budget. And so I think in the grand scheme of things, you see what we're dealing with from this. And so we just have to be creative. And this right here is just a start of it. When you talk about chemicals and inflation and cost of goods sold and fuel, that just ups the ante a little bit on top of all of this. And these are things that we can't control. So when you go into increases out of our control in the very bottom of 2023, you see that the total of things that we can't control since 2023, these are things that are just assessed and put in the actual budget. It's $170,000. And so, boom, already I have $170,000 I had to find. So I just want to make sure that when we start talking about rate increases, I would love to give everything to everyone for free. I just want to put that all out there, okay? I want to make sure that everything is accessible and free for everyone to attend and low cost as much as possible. But we do have an obligation to recover some of our direct costs. And when we have to put toilet paper and paper towels and janitorial supplies and labor, and you see how the labor has went up over the cost from 2017 to 2023 with less people, right? I'm showing you those numbers. The labor costs have gone up, then you know that we have to cover those direct costs. And when we're thinking about that, we need to cover those in areas that make sense. So we're looking at where does that make sense in our budget, where does that make sense in the revenues and the projections. So I'll kind of go through this just a little bit, and of course, I would like for you to digest some of this, because there's a lot of numbers and there's a lot of information on the revenue projection spreadsheet, and there's a lot of budget numbers and a lot of information in your packets. So I don't expect any approvals today, and, you know, I'm happy to sit down and talk with you on some of these things. But also, I do remember last year that the board really wanted to see the rate increases at the same time that you saw the budget. And so Emma and Amber and I worked really hard to really look at the rate increases and look at the projections and say, where can we get to in 2024 and where are we at now? And is this something that we can meet by raising these rates? So that's the first basically tab that you'll see in revenue projections, is you'll see, okay, I'm gonna give you a comparison of where we were in 2019 and 2020, because that's really the numbers that we have solid, and then 2023 and 2024 projections. And then where we are year to date, as of today. So I just completely checked where we are in PSNA, in our budget today, and where we're at, and I see, okay, we're gonna surpass our projection for 2023, because like for cabin and shelter rentals, we're at 58,000. So we're doing pretty good. Like, we're really doing well in cabin and shelters. Let's go, if you go to the senior center facility rental, we projected 3,000, we're already surpassing that at 3,500. And if we go down to the pool, we pretty much met every single one of our projections. So I just kind of wanted to show you all of that. The only projection that we didn't hit, if everything has cleared, and I think there might be some more receipts coming in, would be the pool concessions. We went over just a tad at like $1,000. But other than that, we've hit everything. It was the pool swim lessons. We projected 10,000, we made 8,750. So we're just off just a tad. So, I mean, all the projections that we projected in 2023 were pretty spot on, and we're looking to raise rates just a tiny bit, $5, $10 across the board, to try to help ease some of those cost of goods sold and try to recoup some of our direct costs. If we went down, if you can kind of see the reservoir, I have dock rental highlighted because our goal is to fill the dock slips, and it's not happening. And it seems like every year we're just meeting a level ground. And so I think we have to go backwards on that particular one. That's why I have that highlighted. You know, it's not one of those things that we're gonna be able to raise the rates on a dock slip and get anything from that, except less people renting a dock slip. So my request on that, and the reason why I have that highlighted, you'll see in the rate increases on the next tab, is I'd like to take it down $100. I want more dock slips, because that means more people at the reservoir, that means more people buying bait, that means more people, and I think we'll get a better bang for our buck there. And so that's the only one that I have that I think we'll be able to kind of see by decreasing, we'll see an increase. And then all the other projections here, basically Wes feels as though he's met his level of increase by increasing the last 2 years. He feels as he is tapped right now, and that he doesn't feel that if he raises his rate, that it will benefit him. last year raising the rates that he did, some people have dropped off, and he's seen those effects, but he's packed. I mean, his tee sheet is packed all day long, every day. The play is there. It's just, we need to find more creative strategies to get revenue there. And so we're working on a plan for that. I think it's time to really look into year-round revenue for Highland. And we've talked a little bit about this, but we're looking into some simulators for year-round revenue and lessons, and when the weather is bad, people are still playing golf. So that's something we're definitely looking at, and we'll probably start a capital campaign for those. And then also potentially a campaign for a building to house them in. So we're looking at that because that's what has to come next. Because if he's tapped on his pricing, and that means he's tapped on the revenue he can receive, we've got to just be more creative on how to get the revenue. So if you go to the rate increases, I kind of broke down some areas because it's so cumbersome to show you everything in one area. And so kind of went through and checked where Connersville is, Eaton is, and Oxford are kind of on their pricing, just so you can kind of see the pricing on the youth passes, the adult passes, and the family passes, just so for comparison there. We are proposing not to raise the daily for the pool, keeping it at 4 and 6, but we're proposing raising the passes. And that would just be raising the passes, $10 for youth, $10 for adult, and the family would be raised to $20. We are proposing raising the senior center membership from 20 to 25. And that would be effective on February 1st. So we would kind of do this, Becky and I were kind of talking about how we would kind of make it a fun thing where get your pass, get your membership before February 1st, before it goes up $5, and still a heck of a deal for $20 a year, for $25 a year, you can be a member at the center. Pool parties, we're proposing from $325 to $350, and then all the pool concessions, they're broken down on here on taking a hot dog from this price to this price. So you can kind of see that. And then, and it's because cost of goods sold are going up. So it costs us more to buy these products. So you have to adjust the price when it's costing you more to buy the product. Swim lessons, right now they're paying $50 for 2 weeks, which is $5 per day. We're proposing $60 for 2 weeks. Then we did a bait sales increase list, and that is in one of the tabs here, and I'll kind of go over that with you. So the bait, this shows you the number of sold and what the price is in 2023. And then we're just proposing to raise it either 50 cents or $1 for each item. And then those will be identified there in 2024. And we're looking at each one of them differently and separately. And then launch and dock fees, those are the proposed there. And again, the dock rentals will be taken down $100 each. So the resident would be down to $290, non-resident $365, senior resident $230, senior non-resident $290, Wayne County resident $230, and Wayne County senior resident $270. So while those will go down, the actual boat rentals will go up just slightly. And that will be from 6 to 8, and family for kayaking from 20 to 22, 20 to 22. And that's just a $2 increase. Senior Recreation Center, the rates for the rooms and the gymnasium and the dining room with the kitchen and the dining room without the kitchen, all are a $10 increase. And then I showed you kind of the concessions at the pool. That just has a complete breakdown, which then shows the revenue projection. And then if we go back to the shelter rate increase, which is the third tab, each one of these are a little different. Obviously, the proposed rate, it shows you what the current rate is and the current holiday rate at each location. It shows you what the capacity is, and then it shows you the proposed rate and the proposed holiday rate. It also tells you the information of what, in amenity, what they have. So each one of those is all listed there, and then it also goes through the venues as well as the open air shelters, same way. And we are proposing the rate increases there. The holiday rate is different because we have to pay the janitors different to be here on the holidays. We are proposing on the open air shelters just one rate for the open airs. When they come in and clean, it's not as cumbersome as a facility clean. So again, that just shows that we're just trying to cover our direct costs. And then, of course, the venues. It shows the increase, and those are $50 increases for venues. And I went over every one of them, and I know it's a lot of information, and I want you to be able to digest it. There's a lot of numbers here. There's a lot of information. I'm happy to go over anything with you individually or go through anything that you might need for the rate increases, but I'm happy to also answer any questions that you might have.
You're right, this is a lot to digest, and there was no way I would have even entertained an approval of this. I know I have some questions with some of the rates increases. I don't know. Some of them I feel like it's too much, but we can discuss that and have a good conversation next month to give people time to really look through these numbers. So, do other folks have comments or questions?
Yes.
All right, I knew it. Kick it off.
Just want to, again, make sure I'm reading some things right. On the revenue projection comparisons tab for the park-wide revenue projections at the top, are there revenues that are missing from this because the totals don't add up to what's in each row? And so, and then there's follow-up questions, but I'm looking specifically at the cabin and shelter rental. I mean, that's going up potentially $40,000. But when the total revenue is only going up $5,000.
So
it's like
I believe that the pool total is down below, and there was a line here, like they would.
Oh, okay, that's very helpful.
Okay.
That makes a lot of sense.
So, what was your next question?
So my next question was about the cabin and shelter rentals. Going up $40,000 is a pretty big increase for a budget.
For projections?
Yeah, for the projections. Is that solely based on the change in the rates, or are we anticipating more rentals also at the higher rates? I'm just looking for the math behind that.
No, the math behind that is both. So, right now we're at 58,270 halfway through the year. So we anticipate our big month is November and December. But we anticipate another 58, if not more. And then with the rate increase, that is where we got the 125.
It's just a really big jump, which makes sense. Like, I get the logic behind it. It's just worrisome if we don't meet it for the budget in the end, you know?
Was there more questions you had, or?
Uh, That was my primary one.
Okay.
I guess I'll just say, not having reviewed in detail, in general, I am supportive of raising our rates. I think it's really, really needed. I recognize certainly everything that you've put together and how strained the budget is and will continue to be. So in general, I think this is a good overall move. It's going to be necessary for us.
Catherine, do you have anything?
No, I need to read a lot.
Yeah, I think historically, we know that I'm not a fan of rate increases. I'm really just not. But I understand that we have to, make money at the same time. So, I appreciate your thoughts, and just know that I'm gonna be very hesitant until I read more deeper to these numbers, but I get what you're saying. I really do. I just hate the fact that we have to even have this conversation. So,
I mean, I would really enjoy if I did not have to, bust it every day to raise money, so we could offset everything that the taxes did not do. Or, the community deserves a park system that is amazing and a destination and has wonderful playgrounds and amenities. They deserve so much that unfortunately our tax dollars cannot provide. And so, it's just part of it.
Right.
So we work very hard here in this office to make sure that they have more than our tax dollars can provide. And so if we raise more money or have more revenue coming in, we can do more. And so it's all to benefit our community, believe it or not. And so I know it sounds like a two-edged sword, but we work hard day in and day out to find every single little penny that there is under every, corner to try to do more, for more people. And so, and that's why we have the partnerships that we have, and we can serve more people by that way. And, we work really hard, to make sure that, we don't like to increase rates either, but we also have expenses that we have to do our due diligence to make sure that we're at least covering. And that's my job, is I have to say, we have expenses and we're not covering those at all. And neither are the tax dollars. And so we've got to figure that out. And it's a misconception that our tax dollars do cover everything, that the parks do. And so it's an education that I do on a daily basis that says it just doesn't. And so we work hard to make sure that people understand that, and that's why people give. And they're very generous. And so we've got to do our part too. Okay.
I have another question. This is really in the weeds, and I'm sorry, but I'm just curious. So on the Middle Fork bait stuff, I just see there's a lot of stuff on here that doesn't seem to have a high quantity sold. Again, too many weeds, I'm sorry. But would it be beneficial to not carry some of that product if 1 or 4 or 2 products have been sold during the year?
Some of these, we might have to buy like 5 or something
Okay.
like that, but to have it available for the fishermen, to have merchandise,
I was just
is
curious. It's
beneficial.
just, I was surprised to see how many, like 1, 2, 4 things are on here in comparison to 852 red worm.
Yeah. You can definitely see what the favorite is.
Thank you, I think that's it for now.
Okay, that's fine. That's completely fine.
Okay, is there anything else? Any comments or questions? All right, so we will bring this back next month.
Well, it'll be in full business, yes.
Okay. So we just went through all of this.
We just went
Well,
through the
then we
rate
need to
increases.
throw-
The rate increases, yeah. Okay. Yes, next up is the approval of non-reverting budgets.
Yes. So, again, this is a lot of information. This is important that you just see it today and I can present that. And again, I'm available to help digest any of these, and this information here. And then, of course, the park board approves all non-reverting budgets. So that's why I have them separated. So park board approves all of these that are listed here, and then the review of reverting budgets, that is common council. So they'll approve the 2204 park fund. But I do like for you to see that budget and just, so you see it. It could change, just so you know. It could change after committee as a whole, it could change before committee as a whole. There's some fluctuation there, but I do have it here for your review. And, you know, I don't have to go over all of these. I did give you what the city utilizes, and then I also gave you how we do our budget kind of as a revenue expense kind of budget, so it's easier to kind of read in that format as well. And I did that for each one of our division budgets. Plus, I also gave you sports and rec and Middle Fork, because we do a division budget for them as well. And I'm happy, like I said, to go over any one of them that you might have any questions over, or I'm happy to let you digest them, read over them, and then bring back any questions that you might have from now until September. We can talk about them, and then we can also talk about them in the September meeting. So however you'd like to move forward is fine with me.
Yeah, I would also propose that we postpone the approval of the non-current budgets till we have time to look at these numbers and bring it back in September. So, is that okay with everyone?
Do we need a motion?
Do we need a motion to do that, to table? No.
I mean, yeah, you can table it and bring it back.
Okay. Do you want to make a motion to table?
Sure.
Okay.
I move to table the approval of rate increases for 2024 and the approval of non-reverting budgets for 2024 until the next regular meeting.
It's been moved to table the approval of rate increases and the approval of non-reverting budgets. Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved and second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Is there anything you want to just talk about the review of reverting budgets real quick? That's those C, or do you just want to hold that as well?
It's up to you.
Is there anyone to highlight?
I will highlight golf a little bit. Golf's a little tricky. I did a couple different things on golf, as you can see. I did, I kind of adjusted it based on potential first year estimates for simulators, and then
Denise, I'm sorry, are we looking at the cash
We're looking at
flow?
this one.
Yeah, this one.
so I did a couple different things here, and it might be hard to follow because sometimes my brain does different things. But I showed the revenue with the first year simulator at 84,000, and then I showed it without the simulator, and that would be page 2, under with the simulator and without the simulator, so you can see the bottom line. And then I also showed with the capitals and without the capitals, so you can kind of see the bottom line there. I also showed on the very bottom of this budget where it says 1,000 increases. I thought it was very important to show you how the 1,000 increases have changed our budget from 2021 to 2024. And these were salary increases beyond my control. And this has brought the 1,000 accounts up $62,597.22. So since 2021 to 2024, we've had to come up with $62,597.22. And so I put that on this, just so you could kind of see that. That plays a very huge factor in our expenses and why we're at the point of where we are. Trying to find creative ways to make revenue. When you ask me, why are we where we are? This is why we're at where we are. And you take in consideration chemicals and fuel and expenses, mean, petroleum products are through the roof, right? So like, it's hard, it's a hard business to be in the game of golf when your whole course relies on chemicals. Several days a week. So, I just kind of wanted to show you that because I tried to outline it different ways and model it different ways so you could see why it's essential to move forward with year-round revenue. Does that make sense?
You know it does. But the fertilizer and chemicals, I see here at first T, it says asked to pay for.
So,
Here, first page.
That's for Glenn Miller only.
Yeah, I'm assuming that's what we're going to.
yep. And if you'll look up here under revenue ideas, if you look under 2024 under 50,000. Do you see that? Under 2024 under revenue up here where it says 50,000?
Yeah.
That's exactly that. It's trying to offset the time we spend at Glenn Miller and anything that we spend in Glenn Miller and the time that Danny has to attribute to Glenn Miller or Wes has to attribute to Glenn Miller, it's a match coming over from the tax fund.
Okay.
So it's trying to offset some of that time and energy and cost share. So we're pulling that out of the tax fund, the park fund, and we're putting it into that fund to try to help keep golf moving in the right direction. Last year it was 25, this year I upped it to 50.
So I've got a question just about how this sheet works.
Okay.
So I see, under 2023, everything listed out. But then for 2024, I'm only seeing numbers for the 5,000 accounts. Nothing under 2024 for any of the others.
Just because those are revenue accounts. Then you go down here to the expense accounts, or down below.
Right. Are we not budgeting?
These are all expense accounts, these are all revenue accounts.
Okay.
So there's no projections for expenses
it's
for
just-
2024 yet.
I see. There's supposed to be, I thought this was the budget proposal.
Yeah, so that you can see on this,
Gotcha.
this would say, yeah.
Projections.
Yeah, this is what it's going to be, right?
Now I've got it. Thank you.
This is what it has to be.
Yeah.
I don't get, I mean, this is 2024. This is not 2023. This line item down here on expenses is 2024. It's not 2023. It's what it is. Sorry. So I can take, I can change this to 2024, and then that would be the revenue without the simulator, and the revenue with the simulator. It's basically the same as 2023 is what I'm saying. But this area here under amount is for 2024. Those are all the expenses that were put in the budget for 2024.
Thank you.
Mhm. Then it's total on the right side.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is there any questions regarding this or comments? Again, it's a lot to digest and process.
It is. Think about doing it.
So again, we'll probably want to take some time, go through this, bring it back for next month. So do we want to table this then?
And you already tabled the non-reverting.
The
You
non-reverting.
didn't table the reverting fund, which
Yeah,
is just a
just a-
review.
Is there a review? Okay, all right.
It's not really business.
Alrighty. Well, is there anything else for today?
Not on my end.
Alright. If there's nothing else, then I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to adjourn. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. We are adjourned.
And I'm